Hello Dino friends, welcome to Kazeros Raid Echidna Guide. Raid requirement is 1620 for normal and 1630 for hard. If you clear the raid, you get to receive purple scales on normal and eyeballs on hard. You can use them to advance hone up to 20 additional eye levels. To activate them, first 10 levels will require 12 purple scales on armor and 30 on weapon. From 10 to 20 will require eyeballs. Eyeballs are converted automatically into skills 1 to 2 ratio if you press this button. The honing process itself is a simple fill up bar to complete. And every 7 tap will give you special RNG bonuses. Before the fight, parties will split to fight a different boss. Battle items will be Whirlwind on party that's going over, and Dark Bombs for parties that are staying. It can pretty much be any party, but party with higher stagger or Gunlancer should go over. When the raid starts, you'll charge right in with Adele and her soldiers. You will need to kill Darkish Shamans that are placed both on the sides to disable his shields. Also, watch out for the shadows passing by. The flame breath attack from the dragons do insane damage. Supports usually awaken at the very start to avoid accidents. When the shamans are killed, you need to push his HP to 160 to face. Most parties use Sidereal Azina here to help that DPS push. When you face, you'll be traveling to the next stage. The map will show a yellow circle, which is over here. You can press G to go over. You're basically just traveling over, and when you see a big dragon, you just need to kill him. Staying behind them, you won't get hit by its breath. Supports can generate meter here too. And afterwards, you're simply just traveling over to the next stage and you need to stagger him on time until this timer runs out. And when stagger is complete, you just need to push him to about 130 bars to go to his first mechanic. Feel free to use your Sidereal meter again as soon as it fills up. Overgear parties don't need to, but during prog, you should have enough meter for all mechanics because the first mechanic fills up the Sidereal meter afterwards. So when the mechanic starts, he'll teleport to the middle, and the screen will be darkened a little bit on the outside. And the parties will be divided into groups of 4, and one party will be only seeing vertical lines, and the other side of the party will see horizontal lines like that. The safe spot is the only other color line, which is red over here in this case. And the other side, you will have a black version of it, which is vertical. And these two lines will have an intersection. In this particular clip, other side has a black safe spot that is going down this way from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So we will need to gather up on this particular spot all together to defend ourselves from this wave. The reason why we need to do this is because player from the other side will have this urn, and the clone will need to destroy this urn to make a shield out of it. So as you can see here, the red clone goes past by, and then we will create a field over here to defend yourself from his attack. If you fail to get the shield though, the attack does heavy damage and it will slow you down. In normal mode, you don't have to worry about everyone grouping up, but hard mode has the correct shield urn on the other side, so everyone needs to group up. My tip is you should use your mini map to indicate where everyone is, and when you stand on the correct spot, you can actually use some poses to know where you are, because this is the only icon that appears on the other side. Pings don't work and emoticons don't work either. After you defend yourself for 3 waves, the last 4th one will be your co-op counter indicator. So in this case, the black clone is going from 7 to 11 o'clock. This indicates players on the other side's final counter position is 11 o'clock facing downwards. You will need to communicate to tell where the clones pass by. In this case, the other side players told us in chat the red clone went to 1 o'clock facing left. The counter itself requires 2 people, so everyone should try countering. For normal mode, the correct counter is in your dimension. In this case, if this was normal mode, your co-op counter will be at 11 o'clock. Basically, normal mode is just a simple pattern dodge, while hard mode requires communication, because normal mode does not have the urn, and the final counter is on your side. After the co-op counter, he'll be stunned for some DPS opportunity, and you need to push his HP down to about 100 to see your next mechanic. And before the major mechanic, you will see this pattern once too. So when he glows green like this, Armin reminds you for the first time if you see it, there are 3 types of this. The first type is there will be a pizza that is aimed towards one player. You will need to make sure this pizza does not touch any of the soldiers. If it does, he will absorb all his powers and he'll be stronger. Kite it away from the soldiers. Other variation is the more dangerous one. He disappears and teleports to the middle, and then he will create a large ring of green smoke. So you notice these waves of green smoke coming in. You will need to intercept it over here. It's like a projectile. It's like a big puff cloud, and you just need to intercept it over at this side so that the soldiers don't get absorbed. So you notice one soldier at 6 o'clock was hit, so he absorbed 1 power. If the stack reaches a certain amount, he does like a real special pattern, but it's pretty rare. And the other variation is he will disappear and he will duplicate into 4 clones, and try to counter one of the soldiers. And as you notice, for most clone related things, you will have markings and you will have debuffs on top of his head, so you can just counter the correct one. So most of the time when you're progging, you'll see the green hand variation once, and when you reach about 105 lines, Armin will warn you that reinforcements are coming. Trash mobs will spawn along with mid-sized one indicated outside the minimap, so these icons are the mid bosses. You need to focus killing the red mini bosses because they can fear you and petrify you. So this is where you use Sidereal Adele, but save 1 bar of meter to use your additional attack, which is a map-wide AoE arrow barrage. Also you need to make sure to use the additional attack when all the bosses are on the minimap. So when you reach about 80 to 90 bars, a cutscene will appear and Agris will appear. That's the other boss. One party will need to go over by pressing G on 5 o'clock. The players who went over will need to stagger her. The stagger check is pretty tight along with trash mobs hindering your attacks. Having a Gunlancer's Awakening here is amazing, so throw your whirlwind bombs and stagger accordingly. When stagger is complete, you'll need to drop any of the boss's HP to 50. It can be Darkhill or Agris. During this time, only pattern you should watch out for is when she teleports to the middle, and she's going to spin her fans counter or clockwise. Then there will be large horizontal or vertical lines spawning. In this case, this is horizontal. The other side will get the exact same attack, but with a variation of middle or sides. So in this case, the fan spins counterclockwise, so it's going to be middle danger. So my tip here is, as long as you know the attacks are coming, you can communicate vertical or horizontal as well. All you need to do is know if she is spinning counter or clockwise. So in this case, this is clockwise. Therefore, it's going to be middle safe. So as long as you know that it spins clock or counter, you can know where the safe spots are. So for example, in this case, if the fan spins clockwise, it's going to be either here or here. So it's going to be middle safe universal, but if she spins counterclockwise, it's going to be like a big plus. So it's going to be diagonal safe. So you don't necessarily need to communicate everything. You'll be able to find universal safe spots. The next mechanic will start if one of the bosses reach 50 bars. She will disappear and an urn will appear in the middle. And when the urn appears, additional trash mobs will spawn and you need to kill them really quickly. And when you kill them all their energy will gather up in one place and an urn will either glow red or black. On the other side, when this is happening, Darkhill will teleport away here too, and he'll cover himself with purple smoke. When he's covered in purple smoke, this is all reflect damage. The reflect damage itself doesn't kill you, but it's going to drop your HP to 1. So you have to make sure that you don't attack him at all. And there will be 1 tether, and tether player will get a stack every couple seconds. The more stacks you get, you'll be slowed down. And when the stack reaches to 10, you're going to be stunned. So you have to make sure to change the tethered players periodically. Now the third one, you get to see urns that are hidden around the map. So in this case, 5 o'clock has a red urn. The team needs to communicate and tell which urn to destroy. So in this case, they told us to destroy the black urn. So after the corresponding urn has been destroyed on the other side, there will be another stagger check. She will appear on the plus position, and the stagger itself is kind of tight. So you need to throw some whirlwinds here. When the stagger check is complete, all you need to do is join the other side of the team by going through the map by pressing G keys. And when the other team is doing the stagger check, Darkhill is going to have a DPS check, which is covered in shields. It is very important for you to use Sidereal Adele here because Adele does bonus damage to shields. You have to use both her main attack and her sub attack too. Afterwards, you need to shave off the rest of his shields. Just like Clown, make sure you don't stand on his purple sides because they do reflect damage as well. So quick additional tip before going over. So it's very important if you're playing a support, you should not use your awakening because sometimes the awakening range will kill the urn by accident, which causing a wipe. This is including any other class that has large AoE attacks. When you reach 50-ish bars, you will enter its last phase. After the cutscene, the fight area will get smaller, and only on hard mode there will be an urn at 12 o'clock position, also indicated on the minimap. You can get near the urn and press G. One person in the team needs to pick it up immediately to prevent it from exploding periodically. When you pick up the urn, you'll notice stacks increasing on your debuff bar by 2. If you reach 100 stacks by accident, you'll be stunned in place. Then the boss will do a special pattern to instant kill you. In this particular clip, I was standing on top of the pool, so I got killed early, but he will still do an animation where he absorbs all the pools to power himself up. So make sure to return the urn before reaching 100 stacks and have someone else to pick it up, because you'll receive a debuff for 1 minute, where you will be instantly killed if you try picking up the urn again. You just need to drop his HP to 0 from this point. Just make sure to throw the pools away properly. Pay attention to the red magic circles under your feet. In one of his normal patterns during this phase, if you get hit by any of these black large circles, it will create a personal pool too, so make sure you don't get hit by this as well. You need to make sure to hit this co-op counter about a minute or two in the fight. He will create a blood ball in front of him. This will explode, and you need to dodge 4 blood balls above your head. After that, he will co-op counter in front of him. This will give you huge DPS time. You also have an Esther to use during this phase. He moves a lot, so the well-known timing is right after that co-op counter. Or you can simply use Adele because she is much easier to land on both of her abilities. Also, another sidereal usage tip is he can be either stunned with Adele or frozen with Azena's additional ability. Under the boss's HP bar, this icon indicates that he is immune to freeze, and this icon indicates that he is immune to stun. So if you use sidereal whenever he does not have the icon, for example, he doesn't have the freeze icon, so if you happen to use Azena's additional ability, he's going to be frozen in time for about maybe 2 to 3 seconds. And if he doesn't have this icon, Adele's first ability can stun him too. It is not mandatory to remember, but if you use it at the right time, it does give you additional DPS opportunities. The fight itself is straightforward and pretty easy, but there are some patterns I want to mention. His grab is where we will take position and sharpen his sword, then slam down to grab someone. Grab player will be dragged while giving DPS opportunity to others. If nobody gets grabbed, he will follow with another 360 AoE grab, so you need to watch out. And this hurts a lot, so make sure to potion control too. Sometimes he'll also spawn a bunch of pools above your head. You just need to dodge them accordingly. And this circle is just like Vicus's purple ring. It's center safe on 2 players. When he does his magic circle attack, it's always counter at the end. If he gets in position and spin his sword over and over and over, this is always a follow-up counter too. But you need to remember that there's a variation that is not a counter. The non-counter, he spins 2 times first like this, then change aggro to spin more. Also note that during its last phase, the counter variable doesn't happen. Lastly, this is his most damaging pattern. He'll throw sword waves everywhere. Try to dodge this, and supports need to give proper care. With that, this concludes it. Gate 1 is super simple and easy. Just be aware on major mechanics, rotate urns properly during the last phase. Lastly, if you want to know additional details or have any other questions, feel free to visit my stream or put it up on the comments. As always, thank you guys. Bye bye.